Holy shit. This is crazy. But, dude, it's been a year since me, Loha, Dave, Nick, Mark created this Black and Yellow Otaku Gamers, and it's like super cool. I just never thought that we would be so consistent to the point where we were able to almost do like fully weekly videos, and we now have gaming content and all this great things. I'm just so happy. It's now been a full year since Black and Yellow Otaku Gamers first started, and just want to say, thank you for just being a part of this journey. We're just getting started. There's a lot of changes coming up, and for this anniversary podcast, we wanted to show you where we started. We actually have our first podcast ever, and it's featuring me, Nick, Mark, and Nelson, who you guys probably never heard of before, but this is like way back, like even further back than a year. I think it was maybe like I don't even remember. It's been a while. But yeah, I'm gonna start it in a little bit. I just really want to thank you guys for supporting us. Things are gonna change. There's gonna be a lot of new things. This is currently what our site looks like. If you haven't already been a part of it, like go on and liked it, subscribed, and all that cool stuff. We do try to do daily posts, and we now have a new writer. Mindy's been a part of this for a while, and she's killing it. So I'm just really happy with where we're at now, but this is probably what our new website is going to look like, and I'm really happy about it. It's still not going to look like this and the final yet. We're still trying to figure out exactly how we want it to look, but this is probably going to be as close as it's going to get what you're seeing right now. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for everything. Thank all the people I've been a part of this journey. I really appreciate everyone that's been a part of the team. Nick Rakusu just kills it all the time. He works like 3 times harder than everyone, and I've always appreciated that. Loha Mohizi, Mr. Sock, he's, even though he has like a crazy busy life, he still makes sure to put out content for you guys and be here weekly, and he balances a lot, so I just want to thank him. Commander Cluck Mark, he's like the one person that will always put me in check. Like if I say something wrong, like he'll just be like, no, that's not true. And we'll have like a full-on debate, and I always feel good about it because at the end, I feel like it was a healthy debate. I learned, or he learned. Cool. So like, I'm very happy that we were able to build this together. Dave, our editor, kills it every time. He's a great guy, and hopefully we'll get some of him in the podcast coming up in the future. And Mindy, who is also now a part of it, she is great, and hopefully we can change things up so that this year you'll actually get to see her. Her content's great, but actually seeing her in person, like, she's great. She has a wonderful personality that you can't help but like love. She's great. So once again, thank you so much for checking out the Black and Yellow Otaku Games podcast. Make sure you check out our iTunes, Google Play Music, Twitch, everything, and keep being you. And if you have something you want to try, just do it. Like we did it. It took us a while to figure out what we wanted to do, and now that we know it, it's like, dude, it's such a great feeling to be able to share this with everyone, share my opinions on anime. So do you, man.
I have 7 wiki pages open up just for names.
I hear your keyboard. It's like
that wasn't me. No.
Alright, what up? Can you hear this?
Ow. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Alright.
I mean,
so loud. Alright. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. We are not named yet because we suck, but I suck mainly because I can't think of a name. But, yeah, so we are... My name is Kenny. You guys can introduce yourself, too.
I'm Nick.
You suck.
I'm Mark. And I'm Nelson.
And we are here to talk about some of our favorite anime that is going on in the simulcast world right now in anime, and I have many, many different animes. I'm probably watching like 12 different simulcasts right now, and I hate myself for it. I probably almost didn't pass school because of it. Don't worry about it, though. All right, and yeah, so I just wanted to get a good idea of what we're all watching. So, Nick, what are you mainly watching right now?
I'm right now watching just about everything everyone else here is. I just love this season. Watching things on Amazon such as Cabanari of the Iron Fortress. On Hulu, I've got My Hero Academia and Assassination Classroom. And then on Crunchyroll, I've got ReZero, Big Order, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is a unique love of mine because it's just so random. And then Kiznaiver, Bungo Stray Dogs, just a bunch of different things.
All right, before we get into any more, actually, I just wanted to ask, what do you like about Assassination Classroom? I tried to watch it, and I just couldn't get into it.
I think I had to force myself to watch more than one episode of that, because at first I'm like, that's kind of weird, and then after a while it gets really entertaining, because you find out that this really random, almost alien teacher who's teaching this class of rejects is helping them become truly amazing people, like not just like good students or good people, but like amazing individuals. The cast is very varied. You've got some cliches such as the really quiet kid or the rogue-like asshole, but then they really get turned around and added extra layers of depth for random hobbies, such as they'll be addicted to RC car driving, or really they're just amazing at everything, but just they're dick bags because they hate the system of the school. And the teacher manages to turn this around into positives and really kind of makes them good, productive people. And you really wouldn't expect that coming from something on paper. It doesn't seem like it would be as good as I think it is.
Especially when you have a premise that's, okay, you have a teacher that everyone is here to assassinate, and he is teaching everyone to assassinate him. Like,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really funny when you meet the other teachers too, because there's some that are assholes, but then there's some who are like, yes, we're really great professors. Especially they've got one who's like their seduction teacher, and she has like a Slavic name, so she's trying to explain to them, no, my name is Korich or something like that, but they all just like abbreviate it to bitch. So they all call her bitch sensei.
Okay.
Like, it's really funny. It's beautiful because it became a term of endearment. Because at first they're like, we really don't like bitch sensei because she doesn't teach us anything. She's lazy, she's hot, but she's an asshole. And then after a while, they're just like, they kind of grow to love her. Because,
they love that
again,
bitch.
Yeah, they love that bitch.
All right. Mark, what are you watching? Blech, I almost said listening
to. Mostly just whatever everyone else is here watching, except on Funimation, I'm also watching And You Thought There's Never a Girl Online.
Yeah, you and Nelson are watching that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's, like, really good comedy.
Funny.
I absolutely love
it.
What is it about? Like, I feel like I see it, it makes sense, and I'm like, should I watch it? And I'm like, I don't know, I feel like it's just extremely ecchi, and, like, the story is not going to hold up to the etchiness. I don't know. So, please.
So, like, what it's about is there's a group of people who play an MMO together, and they're in a very small guild, and all of a sudden they decide, hey, let's meet up in real life. Oh, yeah. And then when they meet up in real life, they find out that they're both classmates. They're all four of them are classmates at the same school.
Mm.
And it actually... What was it? Very early on in the first episode, like, two of them get married within the game, and then that one girl gets very obsessed with the guy. So, like, episode to episode, they're just trying to, it just shows, like, the daily life between them playing the game and real life, and one of the characters has a weird mental thing where she can't separate game from life.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
It's not very ecchi. It may have been drawn by a hentai artist,
What?
but it's not ecchi at all.
It's not ecchi, but it's drawn by. Okay, all right.
It seemed
I'm
that way.
interested.
I watched the first episode, but
No,
I
it's-
thought it was going to go that way.
It kind
There's
of
only
goes
a
that
few
way.
things. Like one of the characters in the game has that whole like, oh, this is magic armor. It exposes my body, but I am completely protected type thing. But that's just mostly there to make fun of that.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. I might have to pick that up.
It's funny. You should.
There's something else you mentioned. I'm trying to think what it was. You said so. Oh, okay. So when you were mentioning that, it kind of reminded me of this other manga I was reading. I think I have it. It's called Doubt, I think, where like they're all friends in an online game and then they meet up, but it goes a completely different way. It's kind of like Saw, where like they're
Jesus.
It is exactly like Saw. It's like bad.
yeah. It's not it's a mess. But it just reminded me because you were like, oh yeah, we're all friends. We should all meet together in real life, and then shit just hit the fan in that manga. But it was pretty interesting.
Is that the one with the cover with the bunny rabbit head?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because Kenny got
Someone
me to
told me
read it.
about that. It's either you or
It's
Nick.
Kenny. Oh, it might have been me because Kenny mentioned it, and I was like, "Dude, I love this shit. Thank you."
Oh, I gotta look that up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Kind of a mess. I don't think anyone really expected the ending, but for someone like Twisted, like me and Nick, I think we both expected the ending.
Yeah, we did.
So it was really interesting. So Nelson, what are you watching?
Every single thing you got there, literally.
You know, I don't think anyone mentioned ReZero. Did anyone mention ReZero?
I did.
Oh,
I
you
did.
did.
Okay.
Pass. I listed off like 8, 9 things.
What about
so I was like,
Joker game?
Actually, no one mentioned that.
All right, so
I
I'm going
don't
to talk
think
about the ones I am really enjoying. So I got Twin Star Exorcist, Joker game, Bungo Stray Dogs, Space Patrol Lolico, which, you know, to be
You would.
honest, it is one of the best animes this season, even though it's only a short, but whatever. That's only because of the Trigger fandom I have. Also, Kisnaiver, which is also another Trigger series that's doing extremely well. And ReZero, like everyone else. And I am also watching Cabineri, but I think I'm only on like episode 3. And
I'm only
it's
on episode
so
3.
sad. Yeah, like it's not even like that I don't want to watch it. It's just like I haven't had the time, and like I said, I am watching like 12 different series, so it's kind of hard to fit all this anime at once. It's ridiculous. But
Yep.
I think Joker game is one of those animes that it has so much potential. It starts off extremely smooth. The first 2 episodes, you're like, wow, you know, this is a really nice story. This is setting up really nicely. I can't wait to see how it's going to turn out. And then, like, the next few episodes, you're like, what? It's, like, not bad. It's just, like, it just kind of went filler-like, but it's not that it's not canon. It's just that it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it kind of strayed off to this other place that it didn't really need to go to. But it is still ramping up and still showing that it has the potential to be something great.
See, I was going to say on that note, it's funny because I kind of got that feeling too, and I'm really hoping that this turns out to be like you find out like last 2 episodes how everything they've done is linked to everything else that we've seen, like how we see like everything that's happened in this show is like, okay, this is basically the synopsis of what all of Japan did in World War II because of these people.
Yeah.
Like if that's their takeaway, then I'll be like, all right, that was really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was Mark that brought up like the most depressing or disappointing, rather, anime of the season, and like upon looking at that, I feel like I can see how some people would find that to be a disappointment as of this moment in time.
And you're referring to Big Order, right? I think
No, that was Joker game.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yeah,
you
he's
said
talking about
Mark, so I was like,
There was a Kotaku post.
Yeah, it was a Kotaku. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't
Oh,
remember who it was.
The
that
10
posted it.
anime that disappointed Japan the most.
Oh, yeah, you posted in the group. I totally forgot to look at it. Yeah, Joker game, like, all right, so I know that Joker game is going to be something good, like, as a whole, but it's taking too long to meet that the expectation that everyone's been hoping for. Plus, if you've watched, what is it called? Perfect Insider, it did the same thing. Perfect Insider started so nice. It was like, oh man, they're gonna get like a smart story murder mystery, and it's gonna be really interesting. I can't wait to see how this plays out. And then it just like, I don't know, it just disappeared. Like, it wasn't bad. I finished it, and the ending was just so, it just didn't have any of the quality that the beginning of the show had. And it just started to fizzle away, and it kind of upset me because I felt like it was like one of the anime that had the most potential last season. It just didn't hit its peak. But it is what it is. It was written to be what it was. It was a book beforehand, so sometimes it's kind of made to be that way. And I'm not sure if anyone really, like anyone that doesn't know about Joker Game, we can kind of explain the story. So it's pretty much a group of people who work as agents for Japan, but they kind of work as they can. How do I say it? How would I explain it? So they are agents, the spies that are under. So they go into other agencies in the world, and they kind of infiltrate, acting as if they weren't with Japan, to be like double crossing the other regions. Am I right? Am I right there?
Yeah, that's a rough one. Like, one of the episodes is one of the characters inadvertently joined up with the French resistance and identified like the ratio of legitimate French resistance to people who were actually Vichy, which is the French who sided with the Germans in World War II, versus, I can't remember what the other category was. It was something else. But another one was he was in Manchuria, like China, and kind of like investigating the military police corruption. Oh, yeah. And it's a bunch of different things. They were kind of like a combination of the CIA and an internal investigations department. And that's why the only reason why I'm kind of still giving it thought is they seem to be aiming it towards the fact that they're going to come to a head against the military itself, because these guys are technically a military organization. Yeah. They're run by the military. Their leader is like a lieutenant colonel, but they like don't operate like normal Japanese soldiers, and that's why the Japanese hierarchy kind of doesn't like these guys. But on that same token, like they explained in the second episode, Japan needed like these spies because they just got shit on like the post-World War I era because they had no espionage. They were like the honorable warrior mentality for the country. So like America especially was the example they gave, like spied on them and like knew everything about them and was able to manipulate them. And they kind of implied that was one. I don't know realistically if it was one of the main factors, but they implied heavily it was one of the main factors for Japan siding against America and the Allies.
Yeah, they were very behind, very, very, very behind. And then they were like, yeah, we need to step it up. And they ended up creating this agency, and they ended up having this system which was called the Joker Game. And it was a game essentially, but it wasn't really a game, but it's just this thing where they would play on each other, where kind of to figuring out who is on whose side, because no one actually is like the person you think is your teammate. He has another person looking over your shoulder that is against you, essentially. Like, it's a lot of double crossing, and that's spies. You know, there's not much else to it. But they present it in an extremely great way. You know, it is a gorgeous anime, and I feel that it's not the production itself that makes it lackluster. It's just the material that they're providing. But you know,
that sounds about right. I think I have to agree with that. Like this last one that popped up, it seemed very scattered, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I really wasn't a big fan of this latest episode.
I liked it better than I think it was episode 3. No, not episode 3. One. The fourth episode. That one was kind of rough, but I could see. The next episode's called, I think it was Double Joker Part 1. So you can tell they're setting up some crazy stuff going on for the next episode. So I'm hyped. I will see how that goes. And also, like I said before, watching Bungo, which is a great anime as well. It's actually a different type of anime where, you know, you have the usual anime where everyone's like has different types of powers, but with this one, every power is originated from literary authors in the world, which is done extremely differently than any anime I've seen recently. And plus, it's actually animated by the same company that made Blood Blockade Battlefront and I believe Full Metal Alchemist. So when
I was gonna say,
yeah,
it has a very, very strong vibe for that. Like if you enjoyed Blood Blockade Battle, I can never say it right, but that, then this is definitely an anime you'll enjoy as well. It has a very similar feel, and I personally really liked it.
extremely fun.
Or I like it.
And I have fallen behind in The Lost Village, sadly, but I know that you guys are watching that, so you can kind of tell them about that anime.
I fell behind too.
Yeah, if
I
you've
think
ever
I'm
seen
the
the
only-
TV show Lost, it's basically that, but with Japanese people in the middle of the forest.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really, really correct way of going about it. Because right now, it seemed like for the most part it was just a bunch of crazy assholes that were like, "Yo, I give up on life. I'm going to go on this tour and live in this village." And the Lost Village, and the name is supposedly Disappeared Village, and a chat group established this group where they basically go out and they go there to this place and they're going to live out the rest of their lives away from society. So that alone, you kind of get the feeling that these are people who are kind of social outcasts. But it's not just like a bunch of fat, sweaty otakus. It's actually a bunch of like, a lot of them are kids who pretty much just got bullied and just couldn't take the concept of living there against like the rest of society, where they're going to get dicked over and just not enjoy life.
Yeah.
So they go off to this village, and things start happening. People start dying. There's this one bitch who literally yells every fucking sentence to execute people. I don't mean this
She's
like
the best
metaphorically.
girl. What are you
I mean
talking-
this. I mean this honestly. She says, "Execute them," and you find out that she's like her mom had to like whore herself out to a priest, and that priest was like abusive to her and her mom. So she's like, I need, like, he should be executed. Like, that's why she's like got that broken mentality. And you find out that a lot of these people have that broken mentality. Like a lot of them have just been bullied or just rejected or made the scapegoat of their companies, and basically their lives were ruined from a professional standpoint. They just said fuck society.
Yeah, and another thing that brings brings more interest to me is the idea of such. I remember when we first started watching, it had such a huge cast. It was 30 different characters.
Yeah, it was something like that.
And that was like a lot to show, even in an opening itself. Like I remember watching that, and they're like, "Cut this guy, this guy, this guy, this girl, this guy." And I was like, "What? Why is there so many people in my head?" I was like, "All right, who's getting killed off first?" And spoiler alert: walk away. But yes, the black guy dies first, and that kind of upset me a little bit. But that's me. Don't worry about it. Okay.
What do you
Dude,
mean?
here's
He's
on the
trying to
note
wait for
on the
girls.
note of the spoilers. At first, I was thinking, because I think it was Mark or maybe Nelson had actually sent me something, and I read about it. And it was like this theory about how it might be like the Sixth Sense, where they're all dead, and this one girl who seems really kind of creepy is the live one. And later on, they accused her of being a witch, and then they accused her of being a ghost, and they tried to execute her. Just for some, like, because their logic was, yeah, we can kill her and that'll exercise her, blah, blah, blah. But this girl was, like, the target of that black dude who seemed to try to rape her. But one of the characters that you thought had died falling off a cliff pops up at the end of this, and you're just like, wait, what? How the fuck did he survive this? So I'm thinking at this point, these guys aren't ghosts or anything. The simple, honest answer is they're just retarded. They're hallucinating and freaking out. And like, there's like the black guy's alive. Like they never found the body.
What?
I'm pretty sure he just like swept down the river like unconscious, and he's like alive and dandy. Like I'm really waiting for them to just reveal nothing happened and this is stupid. I'm hoping it doesn't go that way, because that would be a really horrible way of going about it.
Yeah.
But like pragmatically, I gotta look at it this way. Like I've got on my queue a list of things I finished, quote unquote, that are just awful. and I just finished it for the sake of finishing it. But I'm hoping that something that started out looking so mysterious and interesting does not let us down.
So to add on to what Nick said about that, the whole witch hunt thing, keep in mind that everyone on this show is a social outcast, so no one's thinking rationally.
Yeah.
Like, there was one point where it was like, yes, let's execute her, and then one guy tries to defend her, and I'm like, no, don't execute him, because he's trying to defend her.
Yeah, that's
And then
exactly
they
what
restrain him.
happened.
And then they restrain him, and they're starting thinking, but wait, do we really want to kill her? Do we really want to kill her?
Not paying
And then
no.
and then like the one person who asked that before the guy started defending her, after the guy started defending her, he was like, okay, fuck it, let's kill her.
It's like, all right, man,
Yeah,
you're losing me. I don't know what to do here. Are we killing them or are we not killing them? Like, what are we doing? We're just gonna stay here and die by whatever's out there killing us. Yeah,
Like,
because
literally all
that's where I
rationality's
stopped. I
gone.
did see what it was, like something huge, and then I stopped watching. I didn't know what it was. I still haven't checked into it. I have to like watch, but I was like, what? You know, like for me, I kind of looked at it as how do you say it? Cloverfield. You remember, like, you never really got to see the monster until like later, but it's just like, you know something's there. That's exactly what that anime
So
they
the next
actually
episode goes
they
a
bring
little more
it,
into that.
Yeah, they kind of make a little more sense, and they kind of give you reason to think what, because everyone sees different monsters. Like that's an important thing, and it's all customized.
Oh, really?
Like,
Yes.
if you remember in the episode before that, one of them came running out of that tunnel,
Oh, yeah.
shouting,
they saw
there's a
his
giant
big head.
Dominican.
Yeah. Was it giant him, or was it like a giant head?
Yeah, it was a giant him.
Giant
It was a
him.
giant him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think a giant anyone would probably scare me. It's like, all right, man. And it was like the person that she really didn't want to see, so that made sense. I was really
I think
confused
it
about
was
that because I
hilarious.
feel like they didn't explain that at the time when I was watching, so I'll definitely have to check into that after. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually the next episode you have to watch where they go more into it, and then you see more of what's going on.
Because they start explaining like that crazy cat girl who likes air guns. Like she was like abused. She was like not abused, but she was bullied heavily. So she like started like she bought an air gun and she like shoot the bullies until one day like they caught her. They tied her up under a hornet's nest and they shot the shit out of the hornet's nest and she just got stung. So she's like. That kind of drove her to being an outcast in that regard, where she's like, "Fuck people, I can live on my own with guns." Which, as a huge gun enthusiast myself, I really can't. I can't, in good conscience, say that's a bad train of thought.
I
But
agree with her.
yeah, I know Nelson would agree.
Yeah, that's it's really crazy. Like, to be honest, this season has a lot of new and completely out there ideas. Like especially like you got Lost Village, you have Big Order. Big Order's like Mira Nikki, but on a whole nother path, I'd say. But it's like the main character looks exactly like the main character from Mira Nikki, or Future Diary, and so does the one girl that he's constantly with. So it's like, all right, are we recycling here? Like, what's going on? And same goes for let's see, Sakamoto. That's one anime that I wanted to talk to Nick about because I'm not sure if anyone else here is watching it, but that anime is I don't want it. Yep, it's a fucking mess. I'm just gonna say it's a fucking mess.
It is. It
But
is.
it's a good mess. Like, I'm not even mad at it. It's like my guilty pleasure of watching. Because, like, there was that one scene with him and his friend's mom that I literally could not stop dying. I thought it was hilarious.
Where he's like escaping and then he does the TV bit.
Yeah, and there's so many memes of it now.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm not sure if you've seen them, but it's like me and responsibilities, and she's like the responsibilities looking for him. It's just like him just swinging past the door, like from the ceiling. It's just I can't get enough of it. It is hilarious.
Yeah, like it's funny. I forgot I have my notes here to talk about stuff, but it's all pretty minor and whatnot. But yeah, on the note of Sakamoto, man, that's crazy. Because at first I'm like, man, this is kind of gay, and then after a while I'm like, Oh no, he just has that effect on everyone because basically this guy is like super. They call him stylish, I think is what it is. Like in the intro, it's like he looks stylish doing everything, doing chores, doing schoolwork, being punished. He looks stylish. Like this guy is like, he's got his luck stat set to like 13. Like his luck is like capped.
The memes on Sakamoto was like the best thing ever.
They are hilarious. I've seen a couple, and they just
the
like
small gifts. The
Oh
small
my
gifts are the best. Like the time when he was escaping from that girl.
Yeah,
that old lady.
you're just referring to that.
Yeah,
the
that's what we're talking about.
responsibilities and everything like that.
Yeah.
And there was also the one where he
The
was going to
bamboo?
sit down and somebody pulled
Oh,
his chair away. It's like,
Yeah.
I forgot what it. There was like a few of them. There were memes that said something else of it, like when someone tries to knock you down or something like that.
Yeah, it was hilarious because like in that instance, like the first 2 episodes are literally just people like other guys who are jealous of him trying to like knock him down and be haters, and he just gives no fucks. Like one time, like they legitimately like threw his desk and chair out the fucking window into the bushes below, and he's like, all the chicks are like spazzing out, and like, oh, sit next to me, and he's like, don't worry, I got this. He opens up the window, sits down, and like he looks like a fucking like stereotypical splash art of a guy just sitting in a window, like cherry blossoms in the
yeah.
background.
That's great.
Like that one sold me. I was like, what the hell? And it's funny because at one point he actually takes a part-time job,
Oh, yeah.
and that I loved. And he's there, and they put him at the manager puts him at the cashier because he's so like handsome and his smile is like beautiful. So like a bunch of like these old women are there for lunch, and they're like, oh, could I get a hamburger and spaghetti and a smile, please? And he like smiles, and then they're all like, oh. And then it's funny because the bullies from the first one show up, and then like the head of that group of like not bullies per se. I should be calling them bullies the whole time, but they're like a gang. Like they're like a mini gang.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, could I get the burger meal and a smile to go? And it's like so funny because like his friends are like pushing him on to do it. They're like, you got this, dude, you got this, and it just goes over so well. Is hilarious.
Yeah, that show
Like-
is. I don't know. I really just didn't expect any of it, and like, I know that like I think every season we have like that meme worthy show. Like I remember, I think it was is it Osumatsu? Is that what it's called? I don't really remember the name. I never watched it, but I always used to see memes of that anime when it came out. And then, like, I can't think of the next one, but there's always, like, that one anime that everyone can meme the crap
That's just
out of.
hilarious memes.
Yeah, and Sakamoto is definitely winning that. Like, it's
Oh, yeah.
either that or Space Patrol Loco. Like, they're just getting a ton of memes.
I was gonna say as a transition, that's the next one I was gonna mention. I love that shit. I normally like shorts are always hit or miss for me
Definitely.
because I just like it's really hard to convey a compelling story that can keep you hooked in 7 minutes and not just like leave you feeling like you wasted your time.
Exactly.
Kenny mentions this to me, and I'm like, yo, I'll give it a shot because just like him, Trigger, they can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. And God help me, the second that shit came on, I was dying laughing. It was the randomness of Kill la Kill jammed in to just one of the funniest random plots. Essentially, this girl gets her father is a space detective or a space patrol detective, and her whole life she's trying to live normal. And you find out that this girl's life is nowhere near normal. She lives in like the one area that Japan sold off to pay off its debts, so aliens live there. And he ends up the dad gets frozen and smashed, and to pay for him getting fixed up, her boss or the boss hires her on to be a space patrol member, and she's basically stuck like doing this really awkward shit because very Kill la Kill style, her outfit that she fights in, quote unquote, is just the worst thing to see, especially considering the fact the girl's like 13.
Well, you know, it is Japan, just saying.
Yeah.
But also, you know, the thing is that I guess it is made to be like an extreme crossover between all the references of Little Witch Academia.
Yeah. Kill la
Kill la Kill and some other stuff that Trigger's made, and they're just putting it all together, and they're taking like so many different feels for it. Like they even have a character that's just like Ryoko. Like
Yes.
and then they actually had references completely to the Trigger universe, and then the newest episode had a planet called LWA, Magic Planet LWA, which is Little Witch Academia. So I'm amazed. I haven't watched Little Witch Academia, so I didn't really watch the episode because I felt like, I wouldn't really get any of the references, but I am going to check it out eventually.
Yeah, I liked it. My favorite is still definitely the life fiber one, where they made like entire references, because the whole concept from Kill la Kill was that life fibers are like an alien parasite that come from space.
Yeah.
And they outright say the only way you can destroy them, break these fibers, is through cutting them on both ends with a scissor made of hardened life fibers, which is the weapon from the protagonist from that series. However, it's really fucking awesome because they kind of point out an obvious sort of plot hole in that by saying, oh, we could just use fire. It's cloth. Why don't we use fire? And you're kind of like left there thinking to yourself, God damn it, why didn't they just use fire?
It's like Kill la
Because
Kill
they
would
had
have
to
been
make
a
like
shorter
starch.
show if they did that.
Yeah, they had to use like starch weapons and shit, and you're just like standing there like, wait a second, no, you could just have burned this shit.
I'm pretty sure there was fire though. I think Sengetsu was on fire at one point, if I remember correctly. I
can't remember. Didn't she knock them into the sun? No, they burned up in the atmosphere. That's what it was.
Oh yeah.
Like that was how it went.
And
So I remember that happened, but like I love that. And then the mom is just hilarious.
yeah, it's just great. It's Trigger. Trigger at its best, and let me just segue to another anime which is also Trigger, Kiznaiver, which no one at all knew about. No one was notified, knew nothing about this anime. They were like, we're going to keep this completely under wraps. We will only show you the character art, the name, and give you a little summary, and they didn't tell us shit. And it was one of those animes where it's like, alright, it's Trigger. I'm going to watch it. I loved Kill la Kill, so I have a feeling that this is going to be great. And then I went to Anime Boston, and I did the 5 a.m. screening for this, which was totally worth it. And it was 2 episodes that they showed, and I was blown away. Just because, one, it was 2 episodes at once, which is crazy. And having it back-to-back really gave me a true idea of what the story is going to be about, without telling me anything, which is amazing. Like, they were able to do that extremely well. And it is, like, how do I say it? So, with this show, if you do not like slice of life, then you can still watch it, because it is slice of life right now, but it's not going to stay that way. Like, there's some crazy shit that's going to happen, especially since this is from the people that made all this like nonsense that was Kill la Kill, that was 20-something episodes and didn't get real to episode 8. It looks like it's going to go the same exact path. And I can also get into what it's about if no one is watching or knows about it, which I don't blame you. It's hard to keep up with all these animes this season. But it's pretty much about a group of teens who are linked together by these scars, which I cannot remember. Do you remember what the scars are called? Is there a name for it?
Isn't it just the Kizna Project?
I know that, yeah, the name of the project is Kizna Project, which links them. But I'm not sure if there was a name for the scar. But they have these scars, which is kind of like an symbol as to, who they are as a group. And it's just that these scars connect them. And whenever they feel pain, the others will feel pain as well. Now, the main character, he actually feels no pain whatsoever. Now, this leads you to believe, like, how is this going to go? If he doesn't feel pain at all, is this, like, what's going on here? Like, is all of the pain going to be, like, is he going to feel it when other people feel it? It's kind of hard to tell. Like, it seems like he does feel it, but you never know. And they do not just feel physical pain, they also feel emotional pain. And it seems like a pretty crazy, fun story. The characters are, you just can't help but love them, and they're just so diverse. What do you guys think about it so far?
So far, it's honestly one of the better ones this season. Like, you said it's slice of life, but there's like
It feels
so
like
much more
it.
drama and
Yeah.
emotion
It's funny.
into it. That
I was
it's
going
not
to
like,
say that too.
like each episode, you actually feel something. Like you feel along with them.
They're like,
So-
especially last episode. Like, that's one thing that I've noticed about this season is that we have like three shows right now that are like extremely feels, not like intentional either. Like, yeah, it's definitely intentional, but it's not like it was made to be like the main focus. Like, they didn't want you to feel as hard as they did, but they just did. Like, that show is doing it. My Hero Academia is doing it extremely well. And ReZero, all three of them are just like, I can't help but be like, oh, I feel so, like, I don't know if it's good or not. Like, I just feel it's so immense. It's something I can't stop. It's like, damn. It's like I got one of those scars and I'm getting hurt too. It's like,
Yeah, no, I actually agree. That's how I feel on that one too. And on the note of the slice of life, excuse me, like Kisniver and Sakamoto, I'd say, is arguably slice of life. And I normally hate them. Like, normally slice of life is like the one genre of anime
Golden
I
Time,
really
what?
do not.
Get
That was not slice of life.
Golden Time.
That was like
Golden
straight
Time
romance.
was like
there's no
romance
there's no slice of
out
life.
the ass.
Yeah.
It was not boring. And like the beginning was kind of like, yeah, they're just college kids doing this, and then you're like, oh, JK, I love you now instead of this guy I've loved since like I was a kid.
oh yeah.
And then it's like, oh, JK, I actually have been your childhood friend and I love you before you lost your memory.
Oh yeah,
And then
yeah.
it's
I
like,
understand. So you mean like
I still
the
say
generic
Linda.
idea of slice
Yeah.
of life? Okay, that makes
Which
sense.
Sakamoto kind of falls into a little bit because it is just kind of a, albeit he's an awesome guy. Like if you were to take him out, this would just be perfectly slice of life, like zero anything else. Kisniver, kind of the same thing. It's slice of life with like just the right twist, I think, where you see the point of the project is to link everyone by their pain so that it would end all war, end all suffering, end like all problems, because everyone on Earth ideally will become like essentially like a hive mind of sorts, but less creepy, and everyone will like be able to live together in peace and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like the way that they're executing this, the way that they've shown, like making other people Kisnivers temporarily to just get emotions, not just pain, but emotions like happiness and sadness for like different reasons, like love or hate or sadness from loss. Like it really seems to be a really unique scenario, and I feel that only Trigger can pull off something like this as well as they have. Like some other people probably could, but I mean they're pulling off this scenario really, really well.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely some like I honestly expected more action when I first heard of it, but then I'm not upset or disappointed with what we got. I just still kind of foresee it. I feel like we're gonna get somewhere with some action.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I know one thing you mentioned about this too, because it's funny. I have it down for a lot of the anime this season, but the intro. I normally like will skip intros and outros. I haven't done that a lot this season because I love the soundtracks for everything. And I know you felt the same way, Kenny, about this. I do that at first. Like the Kisniver intro is a little weird. It was like normally anything Trigger audio. Like I will, it's like ear sex to me. Like I will be addicted to that shit. I will just love it. And the intro to it, I was like, man, this is a little weird. But then after the second episode, like on episode 3, I was just watching. I'm like, wow, this fits the show perfectly. This is a really good intro. The intro, the music, it was just really upbeat and happy, and it just fit perfectly.
It is, and it's different. It's not remotely like any other intro I've seen. Plus,
Exactly.
it's not showing any spoilers whatsoever. remotely. Like, to be honest, I think the only spoiler was that extra character that we knew was going to happen eventually. So
Yeah.
it's like I really had no problem with it. I think it is probably the best opening I've seen in a while when it comes to originality. And I think Kisniver is just the best looking anime this season. Like,
Yeah.
when it comes down to art, I think it's amazing. The animation's good, it's fluid, and it just looks very good. If I had to pick a second one, it's obviously going to be Re:Zero. But, you know, that's me. That's my opinion. I'm not going to... Yeah, we're not going to get into this right now. All right.
I think the best animation this season is Big Order's CG, because those guys
CG.
always do this
I hate
CG.
that
No,
CG.
I'm joking. I'm obviously joking. That was honestly, besides the English of
English.
Future Diary,
English.
the only thing I disliked was unnecessary CG in that. Big Order, unfortunately, does suffer from that as well. I know we touched on that. I forgot about it. I wanted to bring it up just because I wanted to kick that horse dead and like leave it under the ground and be done with it.
Dude, I want to love that show. I really did want to love it. And then the CG just, like, kills
Yeah.
me every time I look at it. It just hurts. I don't...
Wait,
They
which
went
show?
hard. The last two episodes, they went hardcore. Buy our Blu-ray. Like,
Yeah.
that's all it was. Is like they're like, yo, this right here, these two episodes, this shit is why you guys are gonna buy our Blu-ray, because there is titties, titties.
Okay.
titties.
Yeah. It is ridiculous. I did notice a lot of that. Those titties going around. That started to happen around episode 4 with the dark
The rock
woman. Yeah.
She's the one. Yeah, she's actually
Yeah.
the cause of all that.
Yeah, she's just like titties everywhere, and but then he goes and impregnates a girl by grabbing her ears, bunny ears. I don't know, I spoiled something. Sorry, but that
You're
happens.
Definitely gonna hate
No,
it
that's-
when you watch the
that-
next episode. Then
Yeah, it makes sense. It
Really?
actually they actually make sense. Like afterwards, because at first you're like, that's retarded, and then it's like, oh shit, that makes perfect sense now.
Yeah, it totally does. I gotta look into that. It's not a bad anime. It's just that CG really kills me. So I'll give it. But then you guys are telling me that the last few episodes weren't that great. So
I liked them.
I honestly didn't like it.
I'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. Now
I don't know.
Also, I wanted
I mean-
to talk about Cabaneri real quick because
Oh yes,
Cabaneri.
Before we go into that,
Yeah, go ahead.
do you want to hear what ruined Big Order for me?
Yeah, sure.
I'm curious
Spoilers,
about that
maybe,
too.
guys. It's spoilers, right?
This
Mark?
is a really big spoiler.
Really big spoiler,
Okay,
guys.
so
I'm curious.
like after the episode, I went to the Reddit thread, and then someone said this did not happen in the manga.
Are you shitting me?
It was in the middle of episode 5. He bangs his sister.
What?
Oh yeah, no, they're not blood. I have that down on my thing, but they're not blood related.
No, they're cousins.
Are they?
No, they're not blood.
They're like cousins or something.
That kills
They're not
me.
blood.
That makes it worse. Okay.
Like
I
I mean-
personally said, you know what? You go. You're not a basic bitch like Yuki.
To be honest,
do
it fits
you.
the
But, I
the
mean-
show though. Like they can literally do shit like that.
You could kind of tell that he was a lot more into her than a normal. Like I don't know if I'm just a sociopath, but personally, I'd let my sister fucking. I'd be like,
I
"All right,
agree
sure."
with you, but you are a
hold on,
sociopath,
hold
but I
on.
wouldn't do that.
like everything before that, it doesn't seem like he would be the type of guy to do that.
Yeah, that is true.
Like he's awkward around EO, he's awkward when Rin comes up. And then
I think he's awkward
that
when it comes up because she's fucking insane.
No,
He's
no,
trying
no.
to
When,
kill
when
him.
she first shows up, before she tries to kill him,
Oh yeah, when he's like, "Oh wow, what's the beautiful
he's like, "Oh, this
yeah,
girl's
yeah.
cute."
He
And then he's,
essentially
like,
could fuck
awkward.
anyone though. No.
You know what? Honestly, yeah,
Yeah.
he could.
Yeah.
Also, actually, they kind of imply that in the intro. I don't know if you noticed. There's like a part where she's like riding him, and then like he bonded.
Oh yeah,
also-
yeah.
Yeah,
And I kind of picked up on that because that's a pretty obvious thing. So I guess episode 3 is when they started doing the intros. That's when I kind of thought, huh, I wonder is he gonna nail her? At first I thought no because they're blood, and then like the second he says, oh, because those siblings aren't related by blood, I'm like, oh, they're gonna fuck.
Yep.
It happens.
They-
I mean, I'm
don't-
still gonna watch it because I made it this far in. But I mean, that kind of ruined it for me. Like,
You know what I want?
if they
to
didn't
be-
have that in there, I'd be okay with it.
Oh, you don't like incest?
Wincest,
I
yo.
don't, I don't like.
No,
incest.
it's
Sorry.
not the incest. It's just that it seems so
It
out of
seemed
character.
forced and not needed, and he obviously wouldn't have done that in normal circumstances. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. All right. Is that it? Like with
Yeah,
that? Okay.
that's it.
I don't want to cut you
know,
off and then move over to Cabinary and then you have
Yeah,
more to say. So.
That's all you got.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut off your gripe on that too. It's funny. I thought there was like other things that bothered me. That was scarily not on the top of the things that bothered me. But the thing
Cabinary,
that I
dude.
really liked was last bit about Big
Alright, go
Order.
ahead.
One thing that my theory that I'm calling out. This is take 4 of the Future Diary game.
Is it?
That's my take on it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like that is the truth, and I was like, oh.
No. That is not confirmed in any way, shape, or form. That's just my guess.
I don't know. Listen,
know-
it's here confirmed by Nick. This is take 4 of, Future Diary. It all makes sense.
Because in the intro,
Cite
they're
your
also
sources.
like, "Oh, it's featured." In the intro, they're like, "Oh, it's featured." The website is featurediary.tp. These fuckers are either the laziest sons of bitches in anime that they are like, you know what? We've got a website. Completely different. Fuck it. We'll use the same website. Like, I can't foresee people doing that, especially in Japan. But you know what? They might well be doing it. So, all right, that's my gripe. Let's go over to Cabinary.
Alright, so with Cabinary, this was an anime that came out of nowhere. No one really expected this anime coming from Amazon. Amazon said, we're going to start doing some simulcasts now too. They see the money that is in it. They see Crunchyroll doing well, Hulu's also doing anime simulcast. And Netflix is also in the midst of doing it too. They are in trial with a simulcast in Japan. Not sure if you guys knew about that. But
I was not aware.
Now you are.
Yeah, that's why they've been doing random Netflix series or original series.
Yeah, they want to test and see what everyone thinks about it. But with Cabinary, it's actually it's the studio and director of Attack on Titan. So all the people that were like
The anime, not the movie.
the anime, all the people were extremely upset about season 2 being delayed. Go watch Cabinary, because you may even find a new love that's better than Attack on Titan. My personal opinion.
Definitely find a new
Also,
love.
in my my honest opinion, Cabinary would be better than Attack on Titan season 2.
Extremely.
I mean, I've read the manga, so I
agree.
know
Oh,
what
man.
happens.
Yeah, that's exactly
But-
what I was gonna say. Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. So Nick, do you want to explain what Cabinary is about?
Cabinary of the Iron Fortress is a very similar feel to Attack on Titan in that humanity is besieged by monsters and they have to live inside of sheltered cities. However, the big difference is these are isolated stations, and the way that they get between each station is through massive iron trains. It's funny also, I read about the fact that this could actually be the same universe as Attack on Titan, because Attack on Titan's like Europe and this is Japan. It could be the same era and everything. But I digress.
Though. So all right. So this train system is only in Japan. So all this stuff is only in
because
Japan.
they're fighting something different.
True.
Like this system wouldn't work against Titans because Titans would just the Titans are always at the wall, and then here in this instance it's Kabane, which are basically, imagine the zombies from World War Z, but their chests are iron plated, so you can't cut through them, you can't shoot them. They have steam guns, but I don't know why they have the steam guns, because it seems like it takes 10 shots to do anything. Also, and Mark kind of, bless you. Mark was
Bless you.
on me about this. Bless you again.
Thank you.
There's a part where they get bit. You turn the incubation period is anywhere from 3 seconds to 3 days. So they're very paranoid about it, and they take very reasonable, understandable precautions. Like they isolate people, they check you very thoroughly to make sure you haven't been bitten and infected, yada yada yada. One of the characters gets bitten. This fucker chokes himself out like this insane fucking pervert. And somehow that is enough to stop the virus from getting to his brain, and it recedes back, and he is granted these insane powers of being a Cabaneri, which is like a hybrid.
Wait, so what
Well, the thing-
I'm getting here is that you're saying that viruses like don't work like that.
Viruses do not work that way. It's not really kick-ass, but I do have a fucking medical certification, and I can tell you that is not how that shit works.
Like, I'm sure people in the show have said virus, but I've been looking at it more like a parasite.
Parasite makes more
up
sense.
until Mume.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have no idea how to rationalize it, but I'm just suspending my disbelief and just rolling with it.
Yeah, and then also
That's another thing. Yeah, the plot hole doesn't bother me because it's such an amazing show.
yeah, and I also realized this a little after is this does have like a really strong resemblance to Attack on Titan, not because of the art or like the action or anything like that. It's actually like you got an OP girl, Mikasa, same type of girl. You also have a main character that's infected, and he is gonna be OP eventually. And you got some guy that doesn't like him, as always, and he seems to be really strong too. So he's kind of like I always say it wrong. Levi.
Levi.
Or Levi?
Levi.
Levi? Or is it Levi?
Yeah.
You sure?
Levi.
Levi. Okay. Anime World, please don't
Like the
hit me.
jeans?
Yes, like the jeans, apparently.
Yeah, Levi. Yeah, just like the jeans.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll leave it at that.
Ah.
But yeah. So you get to notice that there's a lot of, if not similarities, but a formula going on to make this work. Where it's they know how to get this going. They're like, all right, we need to get an OP girl who is like a beast and is taking care of the main character because he's not strong enough yet, and no one trusts him because of his abilities, which makes total sense in Attack on Titan. And they have like all these big walls surrounding them, even though they're not obviously behind those walls all the time because they're driving around. But it's just a different system, but it's extremely similar.
Yes.
Not a bad thing. It's just like when you know something works, you do it again. And I totally understand. Anything else about Cabaneri you want to talk about? Or do we want to segue to ReZero? Since we've been kind of holding off on that.
I was going to say, is that our last topic that we're saving for the end?
I wanted to
been
talk
holding off
about
on a lot
Twin
of things.
Star, but I don't...
We could do Twin Star first.
wait,
I think
oh, wait.
ReZero is going to be fun.
Wait. All right, we'll do Twin Star, and then we'll do My Hero, and then we'll do ReZero.
Yes.
I forgot about My Hero. Okay, so Twin Star's Exorcist is that show that I used to, like, I loved these kind of shows when I was younger. It was like, you got this kid who everyone kind of rejects, and he's actually super OP, kind of like Blue Exorcist, which is kind of similar
Yes.
names and such. But it's exactly the same. Like, they kind of built this character not to look appealing. They built him to be like the most hated person, and that's exactly how Rin was in Blue Exorcist. And it's like, come on, like, why are you doing this? But it all makes sense. Like, they do it systematically to exclude him from all the other characters. But he's actually one of the most OP. He has the most heart. He wants to save the world from all the what are they called? I forgot. They have like a different name. I know they're
Kagari.
demons.
Kagari.
Kagari. Okay. So all the Kagari they want to destroy. And you have this girl who's been trained since she was a baby to be this like prodigy to stopping all of them. And you somehow find out that they have to be married in order to create the next, the strongest exorcist to save the world.
Which I thought was hilarious and made like that. That's actually the turning point that made me really like that show, because I was like, you know what? That's fucking troll as shit. I like it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you two are both powerful, but you'll never be the most like their dream is to become the most powerful exorcist, both of them.
Mhm.
And it's great because this guy who's like the head exorcist is like, yeah, neither of you are ever gonna reach that goal, but your kid is, and it's just like, god damn it, what the fuck.
And he
Actually,
is the strongest. Like he
Yeah.
definitely seems like he's the strongest. But then she came back when they were battling, and you could tell she definitely still had a lot more to give. And when they looked like they were ready to tear each other down, that's when he was like, "All right, you guys get married." And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like that's how they ended the episode. It's like, what? And
Yep.
now I'm interested. I want to see what's going to happen now and see how the relationship develops. Because there's no way that they weren't just not going to get together. Like you definitely know it's going to happen eventually.
I actually have a lot of notes about this one. One of my favorites was how just overall, at this point, like that head exorcist gives them this beautiful 10,000 square foot villa. It looks like the Playboy fucking mansion, and the whole reason is so that they can fuck in it. So he sets it up. He uses this massive villa as nothing more than a way to like basically say, you know what, you two have sex, have that kid that's gonna save the world. And it's great because like throughout the entire the episode, you could basically just be playing Careless Whisper in the background, and you're just like, yeah, this is legit, I guess. But finally, thankfully, they actually because originally he said that they were going to be put through trials, but he does put them through trials. There's a wee bit of ecchi, but it's not like really ecchi. It's just like he's put in ecchi situations. And then the ending was actually kind of sweet, where they're finally like starting to not fucking hate each other. Like legitimately, like there was a good moment where she lost a hair tie from her dead brother, and he's like, "Oh, yo, I found it." Like they go
Spoilers.
around. Yeah, sorry, it's very minor in my opinion, but it's because it was very important because it set a very nice point where you can see them starting to really like each other. Because she's like in the bath and she's like, "Oh, huh, this is funny. He could actually fit in here with me." And then she like freaked out and all that. But
Yeah. Well,
but
also,
it's an adorable
Yeah.
series that I really like it.
there's also that moment where he goes to her for help. I thought that was a really, I don't want to say touching, but it actually felt like, oh, you know, like that's a really nice feeling to see them, like him reach out to her, even though he has like such strong pride. He does not want to go to her, but he knows that in order to save someone that's very close and has always cared for him, he has to make sure that he goes to the person that he knows can help him, even though he knows that he's gonna get shit for it. But she doesn't. She doesn't give him any shit. She actually helps him, and it is a great battle with both of them together.
I think actually her line was something like, "You never have to beg for me to help you fight the Kegari," or
Yes.
whatever it was. And I thought that was really cool because normally she's like very demeaning to him, very tsundere, but when it comes to fighting, she's like no nonsense. She's like, I admit, but it's kind of funny. It's like the inverse of that. She's like the only time she really likes him is when he's fighting them, because she admits like the only thing he's really good at is being an exorcist.
Yeah.
And at that, he's amazing.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see all the setup that they're working on. So I really do have a good feeling that this may be a long run of a season, not necessarily a 12. I'm hoping for maybe like a 20, 22, 24, 26 episodes.
As you said,
season.
24, 26,
I'd
hopefully.
be happy. I'd be really happy. But then I see other animes like My Hero Academia only getting 13 episodes. I'm not mad. I'm not
Tilted.
mad at all.
I'm tilted.
Yeah.
But that
Triggered.
that show is literally Funimation's one of two episodes that not episodes, two series that are carrying them right now this season. I think the other than the one that you, Mark and Nelson are watching, I don't really think there's anything else that's causing me to
Assassination
go to
Classroom
them.
is
Well, that one,
Funimation.
but that's a carryover. Like I don't really look
Yeah.
at those ones that much because, like, if anything, I would have mentioned Asterisk War earlier, but I'm not
man.
really.
How is that?
I'm not
'Cause-
caught up.
I watched like 3 episodes of it. I'm like, yeah, this is good, but then I just kind of like let it go. It seemed too cliche for me. Is it worth the time?
It's one of those animes where it's extremely generic. Like The main character is like Kirito. He's that guy who he's not necessarily like he's definitely OP as shit. And the reason why he's OP is because of something that happened when he was younger, and he's just ridiculously strong no matter what. But he has some type of mechanism or like spell on him that causes him not to be at his full potential, which is kind of cool, you know, knowing that he already has a full potential that he just hasn't tapped into. Like, I know every main character, main protagonist in some type of action shonen battle doesn't actually like, you know that they're definitely gonna get stronger. But this guy, it's like he is super strong, and everyone knows it. So he ends up linking with this girl, and they end up being a part of a duel. Like, it's 2-on-2s for this festival, and they kind of use these swords that are like lightsabers. Like, they make lightsaber sounds and everything, and they're not like, it's not a bad show, but it is like super harem. Like, he is surrounded by all these women, and they all like love him.
Yep.
And it's like, obviously it's nauseating. It's like, all right, you know, I kind of seen this story many times, but like, there's this one girl that's like super forward, as always. There's always that one girl, and like, she would call him over to his room, him thinking it's like some normal, natural thing. So he like comes up to her room, and like, she's getting out of the shower and like throws herself at him, and he's just like, oh, gotta go, and then leaves. It's like, it's so frustrating to see things like that, but that's what you're known to see these things in harems. You expect it. So it's like, God damn it, it's the same story over and over. But for some odd reason, it still pulls me because it still has some extra feel to it that I actually like. Like, I like something about it. I just don't know what it is. I like it a lot, and I kept watching it.
That seems to be what everyone thinks. Like, everyone seems to like really be digging it, and it kind of makes me want to give it another shot.
It's not a bad show. It's just very, very, very generic. And you've seen that character. You've seen him many times. He's literally Kirito, and you know how it is. Like, there's a Kirito and Asuna. That's literally what it is. And then he has his little cousin and all the other stuff. Like, it's all there. The story's there. It's just no fairies. Thank God.
Thank God. That killed me.
Also, so before we stray off, because we were just going to talk about My Hero Academia, what do you think of this show?
I love it.
I know Nick's watching it, I'm watching it, Nelson's watching it, but he hasn't seen the
brother,
new episode.
Yeah, I was going to say my brothers are watching it, and it's great because, like,
you could talk to them about it and stuff. That's cool.
And I love it personally because I feel another one that I let them watch was One Punch Man. And I mean, like, everyone loves One Punch Man. Like, it's like I'll walk around and I'll see, like, the Opie shirts, and I like bust out laughing because I'm like, that is hilarious. Like, that is just hilarious. And I feel like this is like could be in the One Punch Man universe almost, because it's like the heroes that are going around doing stuff. And like, it's very wacky. It has that same very nonchalant feel of, this is not grim dark. This is not Batman Dark Knight. You know, someone's going to get like blown up by a bomb and all that bullshit. This is very lighthearted, happy, and entertaining, like, superheroes
with lots of feels.
Yeah.
Mark, surprisingly more feels.
Mark, have you watched it?
I tried watching it, but the thing is, like, I'm not as big a fan of like typical shonen, so like the first episode didn't really catch my attention.
I understand. But like, for me, I felt the same exact way. I was like, oh, this is okay. I'm not really too into it. And then, like, they got to that one scene in the first episode where he was, like, crying at his computer. I was like, oh, no. I felt so bad. I literally almost, like, I was so soft. And I was like, oh, this hurts. I feel so bad for this kid. But then when you get into it, you're like, wait, what's going to happen now? And, like, it just opens up so many doors to some interesting things. And the characters are all really interesting. The one character that really pisses me off is this his childhood friend, who is like his rival. He is literally the most annoying person in the world. and you know that you have to like him because eventually he's gonna turn good. But
His name is Katsuki.
oh, he pisses me off.
Yeah, he's a real cunt.
Well, for lack of better words.
Yeah, I just dislike him a lot. Like, especially like he's very proud. So like when things happen and he realizes he's not tough shit, instead of just being proud, I'm glad that they went the route of you could tell he was hurt because he was like a dick to this guy, thinking that he was useless, and like that was his nickname for him was Deku, which was useless because the kid was like a little shit, but he was always like there. He's such a nice kid. Like he was always there to like offer to help him up, and he hated that because he's like, why are you trying to help me? Like I'm amazing. Why are you, who has no powers, trying to help me? This is stupid. So like when he finds out that not only does he really have powers, but he actually has more power than him, like by far, he's just like, well, shit. Like he's actually like crying at the end of it. Like you can tell he's like, but he gets past it. He's like, I'm going to become even more powerful than All Might, who is very American. And he's like the greatest superhero. And it's hilarious to me because I know that this is another one of those shows that's up on the shit list for Japan where they don't like it. And I think that's because, honestly, this is a very American anime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, this could be a cartoon in America. Like, this is like Adventure Time kind of shit.
I can seriously
like,
see it coming to Toonami. I can see
yeah,
that.
yeah. I agree wholeheartedly because it's very much like that.
Did you know it was made by Bones as well?
Who?
Really?
The people that made Blood Blockade Battlefront and Eureka 7, Noragami, Full Metal. They made a lot of stuff. Oh my god. Yeah, I just looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, that's really interesting.
That's funny. Let me pull that up.
Yeah. With
I didn't know that.
With this show, I think My Hero Academia just spills the feels unintentionally. Like, it's just, you cannot help but love this kid, even though he is, like, a whiny brat in the beginning, but
Yeah.
he is not, like, intentionally whining. He just, all he wants is to help people, and he just, it oozes out of him how much of a hero, like, he has the characteristics, but he just did not have the power that would lead him to be a hero.
Yeah.
And this is his fight to be as strong as the #1 hero in the world. I love it.
Yo,
I'm just a fan
I just
of
read up
show
on
and
it.
jump.
What's
No, I
up?
was just saying, I'm just a huge fan of show and jumps in general, so it doesn't matter.
To be honest with you, when I first started watching it, I realized it was like a Jump series, and I was like, this is Jump? It's kind of weird. And then our friend Loha, he also mentioned to me it kind of feels like Naruto, in a sense. Like, just like how...
Just the opening.
Yeah, well, not just the opening, but just like the character himself. And like how Naruto in the beginning was like defeated all the time. He's like, oh yeah, you know, he gets bullied by everyone, no one likes him, this and that. Same exact feel in the beginning.
Yeah,
And,
like the only person that likes him is the teacher.
yeah, and then he becomes
Yeah.
OP. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what happens.
Bungo Stray Dogs is getting a season 2.
Is
I didn't
it?
know if you knew that. I just read it. October 2016. There's going to be Bungo Stray Dogs season 2.
Oh man, that's so good.
So that's good. Yeah, I know. Like I was
catch up.
looking it up right now. It's good, dude. Like I'm really happy with that. That's one of the only ones that's not kind of losing my interest. Like Joker game a bit, Lost Village, Twin Star Exorcist. Up until this episode, I was kind of a little waving, but I'm back on it.
And
Honestly, for
go
me, that caught. No, I said for me, the only thing that's keeping my interest is literally just ReZero, My Hero Academia, and probably Kisniver.
dude, ReZero, I think, is by far the best anime, and not because of the content itself, but I feel
I love
that
the story.
I feel that the story is good, but also they manage it so well. Like, the studio created 2 episodes to throw at you right in the beginning for a great intro, and they use as much time as possible to show this story. Like, they literally take out openings sometimes, they cut the ending, change the ending, and even
They
just
always
put-
have the ending with the outro music. Yeah.
and then they just keep the story going with the credits going. I love that. I love how invested they are into this, and I feel like it's just because they have so much content they want us to see, and they don't want to skim it. I love that. I truly love the series, and I just want the main character to be with this girl so they could be happy ever after. But I know it's never gonna happen.
God, man.
I think what you said about the cutting the opening or ending, things are going down when either the opening or the ending is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Last week's episode, both were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you remember episode 3,
shit's happening.
Episode 3 was nothing but fighting. It was literally fighting for a whole episode. Like, they are just so good at that. I don't know what it is. Like, no anime I've seen can do that so well. Time and time after again. And then the characters are so unique. Even though you have two of them that are almost the same character. But
I love Ram. Ram is my favorite.
They're honestly so far from the same character.
Yeah, dude, they're completely different.
But this,
you know
They
what I
basically
mean.
look the same,
They're
they act the
twins,
same,
you know?
but when things happen,
They have completely
you can
different
tell them
reactions.
apart. They're completely
Yeah,
different
that's
attitudes
what
and
I'm
everything.
glad they did divvy it up. Because at first I felt the same way as Kenny, because I'm like, oh yeah, haha. Well, let me guess, one's gonna be really good at everything, one's gonna be really bad. Oh, look at that, I was right. And then it's like, you find out the emotional component that actually affects the main character. And again, that's why I agree with what Mark just posted up a picture about how there's just so many feels in this show, because you really think it's going to be a very stereotypical. What's the one from last season?
I go into anime blind. Konosuba was last season.
Konosuba.
Konosuba.
Yeah,
I was expecting
I thought it was
lighthearted
gonna be
comedy,
exactly.
but no,
No,
I did not get that.
Did you
There is
see-
comedy in there, definitely, but this is so much more serious on a overall note than anything else. Anything else that has this kind of similar trope to it.
You did see how Crunchyroll kind of labeled it last week or 2 weeks ago. They were like, "Oh, it's Konosuba meets Erased," and I was not mad at that. I was like, "That, yeah, I'll take that. That makes sense."
That's a very accurate description. Erased. I just pretend the ending didn't happen.
All right, we don't have time for Erased right now. We're not talking about that right now.
Yeah.
But yes, I do want to talk about it, just not right now. We are kind of closing to an end of the podcast. It's been a very long time, but I feel like we got a lot out. It was great. I kind of want to get a good rundown of a top 5 from all of us. So, Nick, give us your top 5. If you could do that. I know it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I know. All right, now this is not in any specific order. I just want to throw that out there. Right now,
So we do have the right to disagree with you.
yeah, no, by all means, yeah. Like I said, this is all for discussion. ReZero, Cabaneri, Big Order, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Kisniver.
All right, so when it comes down to JoJo, I've watched 4 episodes in JoJo, and I felt like I watched a whole season of an anime. That's how stacked that show is, and I'm not against it. I think that's great, but I don't have the time to catch up right now. But
Yeah,
I really do
you're
see
4
the
seasons
potential.
in.
Yeah,
You're 4 seasons in. It's rough.
I ain't about that life.
It's such a beautiful show, and that's also why I didn't bring it up, because I knew I was the only one here that was caught up on it. But actually, I'm still 3 episodes behind because I haven't been watching anime these past 2 weeks. But it's a really, really good show because it constantly escalates. You're just like, all right, so you got an immortal vampire. How are you gonna top that? Oh, you have to use some crazy ass Buddhist monk style chakra shit. All right. And each villain just constantly gets more and more insane with their attacks and their abilities, and then the powers eventually just change up. It's a constant escalation of show, and every time I think, wow, that's insane, they throw the world and a fucking steamroller at you.
yeah.
And for those of you that watch or know of JoJo's, you know the reference of that. Otherwise, I'd say look it up or just be surprised when you find out this bullshit. Because I still remember Margaret's face when I explained to her, oh yeah, his power is steamrollers. And she's like, what? And it's really entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
The show is just, it's a very funny show. That show is one of the only ones I don't hate the English. One of the only ones.
So
I don't know, man.
what about you, Nelson? What would you put as your top 5?
All right. From an actual list of the top 5, I would actually choose My Hero Academia, ReZero, Kisniver, Big Order, and You Thought There Is Never a Girl Online.
And is that in order?
Yep, that's in order.
With ReZero 1?
Nope. My Hero Academia is 1, ReZero's 2,
I can see
Kisniver's
that.
3,
Yeah.
Big Order is 4, and You Thought There's Never a Girl Online 5.
That's cool. I don't really have anything bad to say. I honestly need to watch that anime since you both watch
the last one?
Yeah,
It's
I like
funny.
your opinion on animes. You both are pretty good with that, so I'll try it. We'll see how it goes.
What? Well, the reason why I love it so much is because like the main character, the guy, he like proposed to a cat girl online,
Yeah, I saw
and then
that.
the cat girl said, "Yeah, no, I'm a dude, so I'm not gonna marry you." So in his mind, he's just like, "Yeah, I don't care if the next girl I propose to is a guy or a girl. I just want to marry them." So that's how it all started, and that's why like they all met up and stuff. That's why I love it so much. It was just hilarious.
Oh, that's great. I have nothing against that. I'll definitely check it out. That's so funny.
Yeah, the intro was like, "Oh yeah, I swear I'm a girl," and then he's like, "Yeah, sure."
And Mark, what about you?
All right, this is actually in order. Number 1, ReZero, obviously. I absolutely just love those types of shows. 2, Cabaneri. Number 3 is... What was that?
I said, really? Oh, man. Like, that means that I have a lot to look forward to if I'm only on episode 3. Holy.
Same.
Number 3 is Kisniver. 4 is Lost Village. Number 5 would have been Big Order. But now it's... And he thought there is never a girl online.
Would have been Big Order till the Wincest happened.
I can agree with almost all of that. For me, I had changed it because originally it was something completely different, but I just changed it recently. And my original one was ReZero 1, My Hero Academia 2, Bungo Stray Dogs 3, Joker Game 4, Kisniver 5. The reason why it was like that was because Joker Game was very coming in strong. Like, that first 2 episodes was really good. And then Kisniver, like, I already knew what was going on in the first 2 episodes, and then the 3rd episode was like, eh. So it did get better. So I definitely raised the stakes a little bit, and I changed things up. And now my list has ReZero, Bungo Stray Dogs, and My Hero Academia, Kisniver, Joker Game. Now, Joker Game's probably going to get swapped with Cabaneri once I watch the rest of it. ReZero is definitely number 1, but Bungo Stray Dogs, I cannot stop watching it. I love it. And I do love the way... I'm not sure if you guys watched it, but there's a Crunchyroll Uncovered series on YouTube that has one of the people from Crunchyroll going over all the references from the anime to the actual novelists. So he explains why all the characters come from where and why the stories deal the way that they are. And it is very, very insightful, and it makes the show better. So you should definitely check that out. My Hero Academia, I would have put that second, but Bungo Stray Dogs is just... I can't stop loving that show. I love it. And then Kisniver definitely stepped up. It's a great show. And Joker Game, you're falling off, buddy. I don't know what to say.
I think we're all pretty agreed on that.
Yeah, I stopped watching after episode 3.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty agreed on all of these.
Joker Game does get better though. Like it does. It's just that you're better off waiting till it's over.
Yeah, probably. That's kind of, like I said, that's kind of my feel that I've got on it too. I'm like, yeah.
All right. Well, this has been extremely fun and extremely insightful. Definitely learned a lot about some animes that I was not watching, so I'm definitely going to pick up some other ones. So we should definitely wrap it up. We've been talking about this for a while. It's been almost an hour.
Almost 2 hours.
And 15 minutes,
It's
I
more
think, around there.
It's more than that.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it was great. So we will talk more about other anime next week. We are going to talk about some of the simulcasts that are going on, maybe some other news that's coming up, since Bungo Stray Dogs is season 2 now. What the hell?
Yep.
And that's amazing. And you should definitely look into following all of us. Like, I'm pretty active on Twitter. I'm always talking about anime. Mine on Twitter, I'm at BlackaTronCR. And also, you guys could outro yourself as well.
You can follow me, my YouTube stuff I'm trying to pick up on again. It's Rokutsu, Rokutsu. Same thing for Twitter. I'm trying to get into that more. I don't stream very much, but that's the same thing too. And that's all I got.
I'm not very active on Twitter, but I mean, you can follow me. It's at Commander Cluck Cluck, CMDR Cluck Cluck.
You should totally follow him. He has the greatest tweets.
He really does.
I like them.
I don't remember my last one.
Get on that, man.
Oh, my last one's talking about Cabaneri. Look at that.
Oh, look at that. See? So you want some Cabaneri tweets? There you
There you
go.
go. See, we post about anime, all of the anime. So if you want more of this, but in 140 characters, there you go.
Nelson.
Oh god. Yeah. My Twitter is at ngvaughn401.
Yeah.
I just like to retweet random stuff. Don't
It's
mind
random
me.
Yes, you
stuff.
do.
Probably a lot of
Yes, you
food
do.
tweets in there, and talking about some anime memes. You know, that's where you go. NG Vaughn 401.
Boobs a couple times.
Some boobs.
Very
Yeah.
nice
What's wrong
boobs.
with boobs? No, nothing wrong.
Yeah,
with boobs.
I cannot complain.
I don't think any of us can, especially since we all watch anime. But that's
Yeah.
not what we come here for. We're all about plot, right? Yeah, we are.
That's
Yeah,
right.
a lot with the air
Plot,
quotes.
yes.
All right, it's been fun. You guys definitely tune in next time. Bye.
Have a good one.